Now it's time for why and how all of us can cause harassment online. What I mean by this is these don't change based on gender or sexuality. These two reasons are just purely human. These will be two separate videos because both of these are important, but oddly, they're almost opposite of each other. But let's start with the first one, which has a very dark reason for why it is allowed to happen and sometimes even encouraged. Now, many get the first one completely wrong in the general world versus in science. So I'm going to explain it in better detail and explain where the mistakes come from. The first one is objectification. Objectification means treating people as an object, but the definition of object is where the confusion comes in. Let me show you how bad that this gets. The word object doesn't have a single definition. According to Merriam-Webster, there are 6 definitions just for the noun of object, and of those 6 definitions, 5 of those have 2 sub-definitions each. That isn't even counting it as a verb or adjective. Oxford says it has 14 definitions, so I can't even show you that on my hands. Collins has 6 for the noun, Cambridge has 3. Now, Oxford, Collins, and Cambridge dictionaries are all in Europe. Cambridge defines it as a thing that you can see or touch, but that is not usually a living animal, plant, or person. Oxford and Collins say that it isn't ever alive, and Webster's doesn't say at all if it could be alive or not. This is the start of the confusion. In America, a dog could be viewed as an object or a plant, etc. The second problem is the second definition. Cambridge gives the definition a reason for doing something or the result you wish to achieve by doing it. Webster's third definition, which matches this, which is 3a, the goal or end of an effort or activity, purpose, objective. Basically, we can boil this down to the first definition is a thing, sometimes not living, and the second main definition is an aim or a purpose. This second definition is what I believe is what some men and women in the general population think is what is meant by objectification, which is just that someone finds them attractive or they are someone's aim of desire. That isn't what is meant by objectification in a scientific way. What we mean is the first definition, but very specifically the not alive part, which I believe many also get confused on, because if all humans are objects, like in the Webster definition, of course people view each other that way. Basically, they used a horrible word to discuss this whole issue. Webster's thesaurus has a bunch of synonyms we could use versus object, and you just have to add the ification suffix to those words. All of the synonyms it has listed for its first definition are item, thing, piece, entity, substance, article, ornamental, commodity, being, token, wear, bauble, accessory, accompaniment, good, novelty, trinket, curio, thingamajig, spangle, whatnot, knick-knack, thingamabob, doohickey, dingus, thinggummy, and whatchamacallit. If you notice, the problem even shows up here because it includes entity and being, which are words that you think of things that are alive, not just an object on a table. I personally think Baubleification or Trinketification would stop some of the myth communication because those definitions are a lot more distinct. Now, sexual objectification or sexual trinketification is when people look at another person, even people that they themselves are not sexually attracted to, and they don't really see the person as an actual person. They zone most of the person out and are really only seeing specific body parts, typically the sexual parts or any other body parts that they or others are attracted to. I know that might sound confusing, so another way to say it is that they turn the person into an object they think represents sex, even if they are not sexually attracted to that object per se. Many would say you have to be sexually attracted, but that just isn't true based on the studies. A heterosexual female can sexually objectify me just as easily as a man can, and many have. For me, it is obvious what most people, men and women, will focus on. But for others, it could be their smile, their arms, hair, some people are feet people, etc. Again, this is something that all people do when we first meet anyone. We scan them. Specifically, we look to see if we find them attractive and or if other people would find them attractive. Studies have shown when tracking eye movement that men and women look equally the same at women's chests, hips, and waist when told to view if the person is attractive rather than their faces. I don't think there's anything wrong with that in itself. It is what comes after that is important. Do you realize that is a person you are looking at? Do you want to know more about them? Are you finding yourself starting to look at them as a whole and not just the couple of parts? If you do, then you have gone past that first sexual objectification. Now, back to our homosocial groups. Objectifying, especially sexual objectification, happens a lot from these groups. Some can't get past the first thoughts, and they always look at the target as a sexual object. This is the part that causes lots of negative impact on men and women. It causes depression, it causes self objectification, which is where people get to the point they figure no one will ever see them for who they are, so they put everything into their body parts, and that becomes their whole personality. And yes, this goes for gym bros as well, but it doesn't go for people that just want to look nice and show off. So, not all gym bros and not all women that show cleavage, etc. It is when this self objectification causes harm to them mentally. In this field of study, that falls under a theory called objectification theory, but it is how the victims of these comments have had their lives impacted by it. Again, I know, really bad naming. And I want to state again that attraction isn't objectification or trinketification. When someone looks at someone for attraction, it mostly isn't just one body part, or it could not be about their bodies at all. It is the whole package. All these comments I showed in my first video on this and the comments I showed that were sent to Robert, many of them were objectifying. As well as I hear a lot of people say, I will be honest, I first came for the breast, but then I stayed for the science. I really don't need to hear that you objectified me first. I know for most people that is what is going to happen, but I still don't need to hear it every few days. Online has made objectification or trinketification worse. It really makes the person seem like they aren't real, that it won't matter what you say to them. And the truth has shown very much the opposite, and it has driven some people to make very bad decisions, and they aren't with us anymore. So, what is the dark reason that this is encouraged for people not to worry about it because it is obviously very serious? Well, if you can objectify someone that you are sexually attracted to, then it is super easy to objectify people that you don't really care about at all. Yep, this one turns into ways people can be used to do horrible things in the world, like shoot another person and not care. This makes it easier to control people and to also make others fear any group or person. They are looking at the person they don't like as an object, one that has no feelings and can be destroyed. So, how do we stop this? We understand that everyone does that first scan, that is a human thing to do. But it is such an easy thing to think from that point, wow, that person looks really cool, or pretty, or handsome, or really interesting. I want to know more about them. And then go up to them and treat them like a person. If we got to a point that everyone did those secondary steps, I really think we could actually get to a better place on how people treat each other.